Greetings, YouTube. Welcome back to the channel. I have made over 14,000 videos in over 6 years on this MCOC YouTube channel, and dare I say that this video could be the most important video I have ever recorded, and yes, that is saying something. I want to start off this video by thanking you all. I am not a professional gamer. I'm not really even a gamer, period. I'm a fraud in that sense. I get through content by using thousands of units worth of revives that I can afford thanks to an unhealthy addiction to the arena and support from so many incredible people who believe in this channel and the voice that I try to give you all. This is, for all intensive purposes, a journalism channel disguised as an MCOC channel. I got my start doing economic journalism, breaking down the values of every offer that came into the contest. I started with less than 50 subscribers. I started with just a couple thousand views. And most notably, I started with $0 ever made on YouTube in, I would say, 7 years. Some would call that a failure because the pizza and the Oreo videos weren't racking in the views. But I don't look at it as a failure. I look at it as practice. I looked at it as a way to find my voice and just get comfortable talking to a webcam. I am talking to myself right now in my house. Do you know how crazy that is to spend minutes ranting to yourself, to a camera? I can't see any of you right now. I'm just staring into a green dot. That is a skill that is not natural. It is awkward. It is painful to listen to. And sometimes it is intimidating, but it is something that is the modern community technology connection of our era. This is more real, more authentic than passive old media. When you can interact with your favorite celebrity in a live stream, it means more because it's a personal touch. I can see you all and I can communicate with you all. Now, I've had to put up boundaries because I've had stalkers in 6 years. I've had threats. I've had admirers somehow. And sometimes it's flattering and sometimes it's terrifying. But it's all 100% the experience of trying to kindly infiltrate a community that I am not naturally a part of. I started this game about a year after it was founded. I was already behind. I caught up thanks to the success of this channel's revenue being poured into what I like to call whale holidays, where you buy all the July 4th offers and Cyber Weekend offers, etc. And most notably, I've had to learn from you all, the professionals, the people who are the best at this game, the best at Alliance War, the best at Battlegrounds, the best at Alliance Quest, the best with new champions. And in return, I try to give you all a voice on my channel. I try to make every video a story. Every crystal opening commentary submission is a story. Every one of my own crystal openings is a story. And every time I say an offer is cash or trash is a story. This is a different, new kind of media. A different, new kind of journalism. And the J word is a really scary thing to say because a lot of people hear it and they say fake news. Journalism is corrupt. Journalism is a field that is dying. And you know what? All of those are very fair points. That's why I consume all media. I want to be somebody that takes the best of everybody from Joe Rogan to Pat McAfee to Jon Stewart and uses it to find my own voice. I'm not going to be the next them. I'm going to be the first me. But that's intimidating because you don't know, and I don't certainly know, if the world wants the first me, because that's the experiment. And that's why it's really important to do this kind of thing for fun, to build up a community of like-minded individuals who get what it's like to struggle. My channel is for the average player because I'm way closer to a noob than I am a good player. And that's not me trying to get sympathy. That's not me trying to undersell my skills. For the roster that I have, I should win most Battlegrounds matchups because I am at an unfair advantage with how much money I can throw into this account. The average person that's got multiple kids and a spouse and car payments, student loan payments, insurance debt, you name it, high maxed out credit cards, they shouldn't be spending a bunch of money on this game. So they're going to be closer to the free-to-play experience. And while that is not me, I still need to be a voice for that part of the community that sometimes gets ignored or overlooked, especially now that Kabam has said publicly on forums that free-to-play players have no value to them. Your time is not worth anything to them. It used to be. When Starbucks first opened, they were inviting people to use their Wi-Fi. You can bring your laptop, you can grab a cup of coffee, and you can chill for 4 hours and write the next great American novel. Doesn't have to be American, but I'm from America, so that's the analogy that I use. Well, now, Starbucks is like, I don't want you to sit in a booth for 6 hours and not buy anything else. You're taking up a seat of somebody that's going to spend more money. And so there are certain Starbucks, this is just one example, that kind of are trained to look for people that aren't spending their money and are staying too long, and legally encourage them to maybe move on to the next part of their day and free up that seat. But my lesson in this field is not about this game. It's about how to build a community from scratch, get people to trust you, to ultimately like you enough to watch in a platform that didn't exist before you attempted to invent it yourself. Most journalism professors are old-ish relics from an old media era. And that's not to say that they don't have value. They're so good at what they do. I work with people who are the best newspaper writers and best radio broadcasters and best TV anchors I've ever seen in the state. I am helping to mentor right now somebody who's almost twice my age, and he's a legend in the state. He was the voice of community journalism on TV for over like 30 years, maybe it's closer to 40 years before he retired. Now he's coming to be a professor, and it's one thing to do journalism for 40 years. It's another thing to teach it. And so what I teach is not traditional journalism, it's modern storytelling. But video game journalism is not a thing yet in 2024. That's not something that a lot of people have a background in. I'm a rare breed for a lot of reasons. And I know I get that this is a channel that, like my puns, is often quantity over quality. I put out so many videos a day, it's dumb. It's really, from a revenue standpoint, a bad idea. It's a bad business model. But I get so many requests for people to have me breathe life into their crystal openings. I am years behind on submissions from videos from the community because I couldn't keep up with the demand. And ultimately, I hit a wall, and I still do it, but I couldn't keep up with the demand because I was having to record videos until 2 a.m., and then I was going to have to wake up and start recording videos at 7 a.m. I was getting 3 to 5 hours of sleep, and every second of the day that I wasn't teaching, I was recording or responding to messages, and it was making my life miserable, even though the channel was exploding in growth. I now am content with where this channel is. I could not gain another subscriber. I could not post another video for the rest of my channel. I will, for the record. But I have accomplished way more than I ever thought about what it's like to not be good at a game, to not know a whole lot about gaming in general, and still be a media outlet. And if you want to say, well, that means you're not credible, I get it. But how cool is it that it might actually mean I'm more credible because the average gamer wants to do this. And they aren't that much better, if any better, at the game. I love hearing from people that say, Prof, I watch your videos and I say, you think you're terrible at this game. I'm worse than you. And I think that's kind of cool. It's kind of cool that people say that they're even worse than me because that means that they look up to me in a weird way that I never thought they would in this game because I always viewed myself as the worst player in the community. I literally thought, wherever I go, I'm going to be a liability. But hopefully I'm going to be kind enough and sweet enough to people that they will appreciate who I am as a person and not who I am as a gamer. But now I've discovered that the next phase of my teaching career, now that I have received this very distinguished promotion that's usually reserved for people that have far more experience in the traditional journalism field than I do at 35 years old, I want to make this a new field of storytelling. People ask me all the time, what do you want to do when your channel ends? The thing that I've loved the most in this channel is my interview series. I love interviewing people who are passionate about their community. And the thing about video game communities is that they're everywhere. And every community, especially the games that are most successful, from Fortnite to Roblox, has people that want to connect and play the game together. Also, to be blunt, after COVID, it's even harder to convince a student, like a 20-year-old student, go cover a city council meeting and do some government document reports. Make an open records request. Go ask that family who's grieving the loss of their child what it was like to lose their child. You know how hard of a sell that is to people that just want to create content, but they don't want to go down that sometimes dark path? But the actual value of storytelling has never been cheaper, easier, and more valuable. So, in the context of the future of this channel, I'm going to try to do more interviews from now on. It's not going to be easy because they take a lot of time. I can do 2 days worth of videos in the same time that I can do one interview. But I think the community benefited most from those interviews where I got out of the way, asked questions, and just let people talk. The secret to a good interview is not good questions as much as it is good listening that leads to organic conversations where you feel like you're eavesdropping on an intimate moment. That's what makes the best podcasts, which I also teach. It's just natural human connections. And if you want to see what it's like for me to lead a lecture that has nothing to do with video games, go check out my community page where I posted as the Professor of the Month at Oklahoma State, something I'm very proud and still kind of shocked about, a lecture about Super Bowl commercials and specifically the highs and lows of the Budweiser campaign leading all the way up to the 21st century's campaign. All of that to say, you all made me realize that there is a missing academic market to recruit high school students from all over the world to want to tell stories in video game communities. It's the same process of non-video game journalism. You meet people, you get them to trust you, you get them to give you information, and in this case, I do information on forum posts, on bugs, on problems. Journalists report problems, and MCOC has a lot of problems. But journalists also report successes, and MCOC has a lot of successes. I like to report both. I am not as good as Rich the Man. He's my idol. But he is like filet mignon that spends so much time cultivating one video. I'm MCOC McDonald's. I serve a bunch of hot and fresh and maybe unhealthy food quickly to consumers who just want information and want a reaction. And people appreciate my authentic voice way more than they do my knowledge of the game. I'm going to tell you like it is. And I've met people who say, Prof, I don't really like your channel, and I definitely don't look up to you in MCOC advice, but I like that you have a voice. And sometimes, on rare occasion, I really like when you just editorialize and tell a story. That's what I do best. That's what I am. That's what this channel is. It's not an MCOC gaming channel. It's great that people can learn from it, but the learning's a bonus. It's a way to build up a community of legends, of everyone from young people to adults to people far older than I am who care about something, this game, and want to succeed, but also want a safe place to vent about all the reasons why it's causing them turmoil as much as it is causing them to have joy. And I want to cover the joy as much as I want to cover the stress, but it's important to cover both. And Kabam's goal, like any company, is to make content creators report mainly the joys. They want to see people promote the game so that it survives and thrives from microtransactions to everything else. I totally get that. But that's not my goal. My goal is to report the news of the community, even the news that Kabam wants to bury, or in the case of threatening to nerf Hercules in the last couple weeks, the news that they want to lie about, that they want to take their own words and say, I never said that, where it's my job as a member of the community to just not add or subtract to the statements that are public, but to report them in the context of which they were received. That's not an easy thing to do if you're risking biting the hand that feeds you. And our content creator program, this community, is amazing. But I'm thankful I'm not part of it because I couldn't do those videos without worrying that I would lose the access to stay in the program. And that's not to say that content creator program voices can't disagree with Kabam. They've done so many times, and I think Legacy is actually one of those that I've seen speak out against Kabam, keep his status, and still not be afraid. But if this is his job, he's got to know sometimes it's an ethical decision. Am I going to speak out against something I think is wrong to risk my financial security to pay my rent? That's a real fear that he should have and that anybody should have if this is your main source of income. But when it's just fun and you don't care whether or not you make $5 or $500 because it's all a bonus, then the pressure's off to put out certain kinds of videos or messages. I experiment all the time on this channel. This video is an experiment. And most of the experiments don't work. But they lead me to realize that I practice for the next video that will work. I am now committed to meeting with the powers that be at Oklahoma State University and trying to start at first a video game journalism, a video game content creation certificate program that, if it has enough needs on the community across multiple majors, could turn into a major for the new media degree. I would not have the experience, the credibility, the voice, or the revenue to do that without the 6+ years on this channel. I don't know if I have another 14,000 videos in me or another 14,000 seconds in me. But what I do know is that I've never been more confident, because I'm somebody that struggles with imposter syndrome constantly. I've never been more confident that I'm qualified to do that. I haven't been a journalism anchor for 20 years. If you're looking for me to talk about my experience for decades at a traditional journalism outlet, I'm a fraud. But I can teach you how to tell great stories and connect with people in a community that you're interested in through social media and through content creation. This is a really long video, but I wanted to say thank you all. And I'm going to end it by showing my webcam only, because everything behind me, for the most part, was donated and even created by fans. Everything behind me, that Marvel sign, all those pops, the Thanos gauntlet, the Spider-Man head, the Captain America shield, the Marvel signs, all of this, all this marvelous, literally, stuff is thanks to this community that has adopted and accepted me. There was a big joke at the beginning when I came here. I used to have my man, the Idolist, say they made almost a drinking game. They didn't actually make a drinking game, kids. It was just an idea. Every time somebody came into the chat and said, "Who's Prof Hoff? Take a drink." Because I just kind of appeared one day. I didn't know anybody. I wasn't good at the game. And I oftentimes made videos that contained factual inaccuracies that I thought were accurate until I did more research. In other words, I did a lot of really terrible journalism at the beginning, and I had to learn that I was terrible at it, and I had to get better. Now, I'm not saying I'm great now, but I am better than I was at the beginning, and it's because I've stopped being so emotional and I've started to be more informational. And that's a great lesson for my students. Emotions can sell, but like McDonald's, sometimes it makes you have indigestion. Sometimes it leaves you with a bad taste in your mouth. Sometimes you think, I don't want to support that. But what you do want to support is truth. You want to support truth to power. And when this channel is at its best, I'm helping speak truth to power through interviews, through forum post discussions, and even through fun, like offer grades, which is how a lot of people found me in the first place. And I'm very proud of that economic journalism model. I'm also proud that I made this into a much longer video than normal because I could. The great thing about a journalism-minded storytelling perspective is I'm going to tell a story and I'm going to give myself my YouTube platform to tell it. And that means that I'm not told, like I would be in a regular news station, you have 3 minutes to tell this story. Go. If it's longer than 3 minutes, the story won't run. If it's shorter than 3 minutes, the story won't run. On YouTube, it can be 2 hours, and some people will love that content. I've got people who telling me, I love your channel, I wish your content was longer, which is kind of amazing, because most people, it's the opposite. It's like, you took 4 minutes to say what you could have in 30 seconds. I said, I know, but it was a better 4-minute story than it is a 30-second story. And I'm not doing it to make more money, because I actually lose money by doing that. But what I do is practice storytelling, which then I can be great here, so that makes me greater in the classroom. It's all connected. Video game journalism is my calling. I don't know if this game's going to be around another 10 years. I don't know if this channel is going to be around another 10 years, but the success that I've had on this channel cannot be taken away. And that's the success that I'm going to go back to my Reynosa, New Mexico hometown in a couple weeks and be a keynote speaker, as a distinguished alumni that speaks to middle school and high school and college students to get them excited about video games content creation. And that's what I'm going to use to expand my awesome university job at Oklahoma State to get more students into college to do what they want to do, which is video game storytelling in a community that accepts them and respects them and allows them to tell the best stories possible. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.